Live right now from Jesup Community Schools in Jesup, Iowa. I'm DJ Josh with 103.9 station co-owner, founder, CEO of 103.9. Hey, I'm here with Superintendent Nathan Marting of Jesup Community Schools. Nathan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Glad to have you join us here, Josh.
And Nathan, it's a pleasure being here. And first off, thank you for inviting us in today. Second off, I just want to talk to you a little about, congratulations so far on the whole entire school, keeping it safe. With the plans, we'll talk about those plans when the kids come back and the return to learn process, all that kind of stuff. Just want to say, first off, congratulations on that. Job well done so far with teamwork and everything with your district, with the state of Iowa, working with them. I know it's a very difficult process, so hats off to you on that.
Yeah, this is something that we never would have expected, and going back till March 16th till now, it's tough to remember what normal was like, but it's our job now to try to get it back to as close to normal as possible. So we're working hard and working with a lot of great people and putting our plan together. So.
And, Nathan, hats off to you on that. Anyway, so one big thing here that people are big questioning right now, when the kids come back to school.
Yeah, we'll be we're finalizing our plan right now and taking it to the school board tonight for approval on how we'll return. We met with we've been meeting all summer, and you have to excuse me with the mask. I'm still getting used to it myself here, but
it's a thing to get used to for sure.
Right, no kidding. So we've been meeting all summer, and yesterday we brought a group of about 12 teachers in and finalized that plan. So our plan is to have everybody that is comfortable and able to return be on site starting August 24th. And for those students or staff that are medically unable to due to being high risk, we'll allow them to learn remotely. And for those that students or families that maybe aren't comfortable yet, they'll have that option as well. So our plan as of July 29th, today, is to have students return for the most part, but providing that remote option for those that may be needed. So.
And, that's awesome, especially with the remote option that you guys have with the schools in Iowa. I get a lot of schools even, Governor Reynolds making as I'm dropping everything on the floor. Governor Reynolds, I'll get that in a minute. Governor Reynolds talking about, how she recommending the schools to go back full in force. Yeah. But I think the biggest shy part with that, to be honest, is people are like saying, "Oh, well, you're not going to let us have a return to learn with all this." Like, people getting scared on it. When in reality, she's saying, "No, return to learn." I know you talked with her probably personally on this too, or in the Zoom call with it. Or it's at those Zoom meetings. What is she saying about the return to learn, just to kind of clear that air? Is she saying the kids, obviously she's not saying the kids have to go back fully 100%. She's saying that if they're not comfortable, I'm guessing, to stay and do remote.
Yeah, so she's been really pushing that our plan should have a preference for people to be on site if we're able to do so safely and in a comfortable way. There's a lot of barriers there that I'm not sure she fully understands on how that could look with 100% of kids back. And that's been kind of the big push with the larger school districts particularly that have maybe a little larger crowded classrooms and have to manage a lot more buildings, is they're having a tough time on doing that. We have challenges within our own district, but we have some pretty good plans on how to keep students safe and separated as best as possible. And in the unfortunate event that we do have a positive case, being able to contact trace those incidents and not shut down the entire school, but maybe just be able to have those students quarantine that were in close contact with the individual. So her preference is to be on site, but I think she's realizing that that's going to be different school district by school district on how that looks. So.
I think the on-site for you guys, I don't know about how big your is. I know I come from Union, being a Union alumni. They got a pretty big school system, let's put it that way. It's going to be tough on them. What's it like for you guys, right? As far as school kids go, if you brought 100% capacity back, if you're forced to bring all of them back, would that even be possible with the kids about?
Well, it'll be challenging, and later on I'll walk you and show you some classrooms, how we have it set up to help with that. But we have about 1,050 students at Jesup right now. 120 of those are in our rural Amish schools. So on site here, we have about 930 or so students. So it's pretty challenging, but the guidance that we received is the areas that we really need to pay attention to in keeping students separate is when they're going to be together for 15 minutes or more, and when they're going to be closer than 6 feet apart. And that's what we've really been focusing on, the classrooms and lunchrooms. Those are times where they'll be together for extended periods of time. And you'll see in some of our classroom setups, we're going to have students set up in pods of 4. That way,
you're referencing that on the interview, so we get to see that too.
Yeah,
a lot of people are questioning that. So
if you're going to separate them completely one by one 6 feet, it's really tough to make that happen in a classroom. But if you group into pods of 4, those students will have interaction with each other, but you'll be really minimizing the interactions amongst 20-some kids and bringing that down to a smaller, more manageable number. So, and then lunchtime, trying to spread those out as much as possible while still allowing students to eat at normal times of the day and shifting students through, and we have a pretty good plan for that as well. No plan is going to be perfect. We just have to do the best with what we're able to do. So.
And honestly, you guys are, just by doing all this work, I know it's difficult, probably late nights into work and involvement with this. Just hats off to you on that.
Well, I appreciate it. There's a lot of people involved in it. Our principals have been great. We have a group of teacher leaders that have been instrumental. And the patience that we receive from the rest of our staff and our families and the understanding and compassion that they've had through this process has been really helpful as well, because I think they understand that we don't have all the answers. We don't know exactly how is this going to look, but they do trust that we're doing our best job to put the best plan forward that's safest for our staff and students. So.
Hats off to you guys on that. By the way, Mike Schmidt over from Union, I don't know if you're familiar with Mike Schmidt at all. He's at Union Middle School, one of the big teachers over there for math. He was just tuning in.
Yeah.
So hats off to everybody tuning in already. We had a lot of people tune in, so people will tune in and off, but there should be a lot of people. So Mike's back on too, as a matter of fact. Mike, we were just talking about you, Mr. Schmidt. But anyway, so just wanted to say, back to that whole entire thing about these, the staff and everything. You guys have amazing staff here.
Yeah.
We talked about that just briefly on the phone.
They've done a great job giving us really good input in our planning, and they're the ones that make it work. This is going to be a new challenge for us, and back on March 16th when we had to close down real quickly, within a matter of a couple days, they put together voluntary remote learning for all their students, and were able to offer that through the end of the school year after not expecting that and not being able to really prepare for it. Now we've gone through it for a period of time, and we're able to kind of experience it, and we're not experts in it by any means, but we're a lot more prepared and comfortable on doing that. So as we have this hybrid situation where maybe we have 20 kids on site in a classroom and then 3 or 4 zooming in through a webcam, that's going to be even more challenging for our teachers moving forward as well. And being able to teach 2 groups at the same time. And we're going to learn through that, and we know it's not going to be perfect right away, but knowing that we have great staff who are flexible, willing, and adjust their instruction pretty quickly, I'm pretty confident we're going to be able to pull it off. So.
That's awesome, Nathan. That's really awesome that you have that. Just having the pride in that staff shows, your staff and administration just shows that, you're not about, at the end of the day, about those, one thing we always talk with Travis Fleshner about is relationships between students, staff administrators. The staff have to have relationships with each other too, like job relationships. It's all about relationships matter in this matter.
Absolutely.
Meaning that they have to work together as a team. We're talking a relationship team. Meaning they got to work as a work team together. They got to do, they have to work together in order for it not to split apart. And this is very difficult with this, COVID-19 and stuff, to work as a team.
Yeah, this has put a lot of strain on a lot of different people, but having those strong relationships amongst our staff and be able to lean on one another is really important and critical. And that'll continue to happen moving forward. As we're not expected to be the masters of being able to do this and having to do it on our own, being able to bounce ideas off fellow teachers and get some help from our teacher leaders in each building on how this is going to work is all a big part of making it a one big success. So.
Awesome. You guys are awesome with what you do here at Jesup, and it's so great to be for you to allow me to be here today. It's truly an honor, truly a privilege. So thank you.
Yeah.
And just in a few minutes, guys, we're going to actually walk to the classrooms here in just a few minutes. So you guys will get to see what it's going to be like coming back to school. And so that way you guys, for some of the other schools may have it a little bit different. We have a lot of people that don't tune in just from Jesup schools, but the people that tune in Jesup, you get to see firsthand. And maybe this will help out a little bit. Maybe this will help out curb that little anxiety, not little, I should say, anxiety, because there's a lot of anxiety out there, but maybe it'll curb it and realize that the school is taking the health care and taking the health risks into effect. And, we're going to see firsthand how they're going to be doing that inside the classrooms, inside the walking from the beginning of the day, basically all the way to checkout. We'll talk about all the way through the process. Which means how you're going to see it when your kids are walking the hallway, what you can't expect. When they're in the classrooms, what you can't expect. When they walk in the door, what you can't expect. When they go to lunch, what you can't expect. All that kind of stuff. And then also with the after-school activities, what can they expect? We're going to be touring the after-school activities out there, the football field here. We're going to talk about that. Because a lot of people are kind of curious with that too. They're going to get to see their Jesup Jayhawks play for homecoming this year. They're going to be in the attendance or not. That's all under decision, I'm guessing, right now.
Yep.
But as far as that goes, at least you get to see how here in a little bit, you're going to see how these guys are going to treat this the first day they come back.
Yep.
And every single day for that matter. Until they're told otherwise, or told to restrict, or told to raise it up, or...
Yep, we're happy to tour around and give you kind of a first-hand look, where we're thinking that's going to look as of right now.
And Nathan, thank you so much for this part of it. We're going to keep this live right now, as a matter of fact, and we'll be heading out. Which spot are we going to go to first? We can run through the school day, basically, like when they're walking through the door.
Yeah, we'll kind of start at the main entrance, talk a little bit about how folks will get off the bus and start their day, and then we'll go into middle school classroom and then up to the high school classroom. Stop along our gym along the way, talk about volleyball games, and then maybe make our way out to the football area to talk about how football is going to work. So
awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to get this underway here. So let's walk through that school. Let's get ready to walk through the school and watch how it's going to be like for a school day here in Jesup.
Perfect.
And guys, you can tell I got the mask on too, so I'm not a shy of the mask. So let's put it that way. Because they're all like, "What are you doing?" A lot of people tuning in too, by the way. There was a lot of people tuning in earlier, so
that's good.
They're going back forth. I'm sure they're tuning in on the clock too. So I know that Mike Schmidt's over there working in the school today. And he's like, I was tuning in earlier. So let's walk through here, guys, and see how it's going to be. And let's. I don't know, Margie wants to say hello. If she's up, if she's not.
Oh, she left for a little bit there. So we'll kind of start out here. A lot of our elementary right now is being cleaned.
Oh, there it is.
So we're not going to go down and visit any of those classrooms, but this is our activity entrance here. So we'll go up to the top of the steps and kind of start our tour there. This is my office and Margie's office here. Each of our building offices is going to have a plexiglass screen protecting our secretaries. So when we do have some visitors or parents having to pick up children or things like that, or staff members coming through, those high traffic areas will be have those protective screens like you see in a lot of stores.
Nice. Guys, if you're tuned in just right now, we are doing the walkthrough of the school, like what it's going to be for a school day. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
So this is one of our main entrances right here. And I'll just talk a little bit about school buses and parent drop-offs and pickups. So in the past, we would allow parents to walk their children into the classrooms each day. To start the year, we're going to meet our students outside. So staff members will be greeting parents outside and then walking their children into the school. We're just trying to minimize the number of visitors coming into the buildings to try to curb that. Now, as things hopefully get better, we'll be able to lift that policy and allow more visitors back into the classroom. So
Nice.
buses is a challenging time for us, but we are going to be requiring masks on the bus because we're going to assign seats and spread out students as best as possible, having brothers and sisters sit next to each other.
There you go.
And then if we do have a positive case, then we can go back and look at who is sitting near other people and who has to quarantine at that time. So.
Right. So this is where they normally would walk in. I'm guessing the elementary, middle school kids would walk in through here. The high school kids probably walk up through there. So, and you were talking specifically about not doing temperatures right now. The biggest concern they have was the temperatures, sticking people basically with the thermometer and stuff like that, or in the head thermometers is the biggest concern they had. So just to curb that right now, you're not going to be doing temps.
Yeah, we're going to encourage parents to do that at home each morning before they send their children in to do a temperature check. And if they have a fever, 100.3 is kind of the number that we're being told right now, is to keep your child home or as a staff member to stay home. Each of our buildings will have thermometers in the offices, so if a student isn't feeling well and needs to have a quick check, we can pull that off there. Or if a student comes in and said, hey, my parents forgot to check my temperature today, we'll be able to do those in each building office.
So you guys are encouraging parents, or is it going to be actually a requirement they take their temp every single morning?
Well, we can't enforce that, so we're just going to encourage and expect that people are going to take care of that on their own. So.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Just wanted to curb that a little bit too. So just in case they're like, oh, you're going to force us to do it? No, not really. They're just recommending it, guys.
So we'll walk this way, and we're going to swing through the main gym here, and I'll talk a little bit about volleyball and PE a little bit, and then we'll make our way on to some middle school classes.
All right. You guys are live. For those who just tuning in, we're live right now at Jesup with Jesup Community Schools Superintendent Nathan Marting. Thank you.
So this is our main competition gym, and it usually holds around 1,000 people max capacity. But when that happens, people are very, very close to one another. So we're still waiting on some additional guidance from the Iowa Girls and Boys Athletic Associations on how we're going to, what we're required to do for spacing out those that are in attendance. But our plan and what we're expecting right now is volleyball and football and cross country will be starting as normal for the most part this year. And I'll talk a little bit more about football when we go outside and talk at the football stadium a little bit. But camps have been started since July 1st. Weightlifting's been going on. We've had students in here. They had cheer practice this morning. And our coaches do a great job of keeping students separated,
Nice.
wearing masks if necessary, minimizing large groups and things like that. So again, we've had about a month now to kind of practice that in a controlled way, and our coaches and staff are doing a wonderful job.
Now, did you guys, one big thing that they're going to ask here is, I'm going to have to move the camera down because I got to get my charger. My charger is falling out of my pocket. That falling out of my hand. But, so you guys have commencement in here every single, I mean, my siblings graduated from here, and you guys obviously had commencement in this gym. Did you guys have commencement this year at all in person, or was it just virtual?
No, we did an in-person commencement June 7th, I believe, whatever that Sunday was around there. And we had our students in here, and we had them, all the graduates sat on the floor, and the chairs were 6 feet apart. And then they were limited to two to four guests per family. So basically parents were allowed to come, and then parents spaced out in the bleachers and watched the commencements there. And the school board and administration were seated and spaced out. We didn't do handshakes when we presented the diplomas, just to try to minimize that one-to-one contact. But we were able to pull off a fairly normal, typical graduation, just a little smaller crowd than what we typically would have had. So.
Yeah, and you guys, that's just awesome because, the kids' biggest thing they were scared of, especially, the seniors, getting out of school in March. And I'm looking where they actually would sit for commencement. Getting out of school in March, biggest fear for those high school seniors. They weren't going to be able to walk across the stage.
Right. And we were
And that's
able
the
to make
biggest thing.
happen.
That's the biggest thing. You know, that's awesome. You guys made it happen. A lot of people did make that happen because that's the biggest thing they dream about going into school.
Yep,
Right from the
absolutely.
get-go is walking across that stage.
All right, we'll walk down to the middle school here in a little bit. Touring.
Actually, on the north.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm guessing the teachers. You guys are not training them. For those that are curious, are you guys training the teachers in PPE, like training? Are they gonna wear PPE masks and everything too now?
Yeah, all of our staff, pending approval of our plan tonight, will be required to wear face shields or masks. And we'll provide the shields, and we have a limited supply of masks available for students and staff. But the shields we do have for each staff member. They'll be taking an online module. It's just a kind of a self-paced course that'll kind of cover safety and PPE and things like that. And we'll have all our staff go through that either this summer or right at the beginning of the school year.
Yeah, 'cause I know there's a class that requires them to take that to get certified to wear the PPEs. So I don't know that you guys have to get certified on that. This is the middle school. This is the middle school, which would be the main entrance to the middle school, I'm guessing.
Yep, this is the main entrance to the middle school here. So the middle school office is here. Most of our students come in through that main entrance that we talked about right away. And then we're going to keep going here because we have volleyball starting. So
Alrighty.
minimize that.
So yeah, the guys, they're still practicing. For those who are just tuning in, they're still practicing doing their volleyball stuff, doing stuff like that. But at the same time, encouraging the social distancing, like Nathan's talking about, encouraging the safety, and encouraging if you just got a temp or you're not feeling good, call in.
Yep. So we're going to head down to middle school classroom right now and kind of look at the layout within there. I think we have the teacher in that classroom, so we'll just peek in real quick and kind of see that layout. But we have our custodial staff getting the buildings all shined and ready and
Nice.
repainted. So we'll walk down this hall. This is one of the main middle school hallways here.
Alrighty. Kind of like a blast from the past for those that are Jesup alumni that have been tuning in, I'm sure. So a little bit different than back in the day. Let's put it that way. A little bit different than back in the day when you guys used to not be able to have this COVID going around and social distancing used to be all up and around. But it's a different time. But you know they're making the most of it. Good to see it actually working today.
Yeah.
Listen to the tunes today, so that's good.
Yeah, they got good music. So yeah, the classroom on the end here is one that we had set up, and we're kind of walking around looking at it. But she's moving around desk right now, getting that set up. So it looks a little bit different. Trying to put, see as you can see in that classroom there, trying to group desks together in sections of 4 and change that a little bit. So we're still kind of laying that out, seeing what's the best for each classroom. But again, you can see we have 4 groups of students together, and then another 6 feet to the next 4 groups of students.
So that'd be the 6 feet. You're talking. Well, we'll probably see it when we
in the high school class, we'll be able to get in and actually.
Oh, so they're doing that. They're doing
work
this stuff right now. Yeah.
So.
Is there a way we could just like come up here and look at it real quick?
Yeah, that's fine.
So guys, this is what he's talking about right now with the social distancing. It looks like it's really good, but with the seating of 2 together, are you guys in social distance that at all with the groups of 4, or how's that?
Well, I can show you another room where we've spaced them out completely, and it's not real ideal for learning. And you really can't get 6 feet between each individual seat.
Right.
So by grouping them together, those 4 individuals will not be 6 feet apart. But that group of individuals will be 6 feet from the other group.
There you go.
So, and then in the event that one student is positive tested, then we can kind of contract trace a smaller group of students rather than saying the entire classroom could have been exposed. So.
Right.
But we'll walk up into a high school classroom and kind of look at those 2 different samples a little bit closer. So.
Alrighty. Looks like they're working on that too today. So all these teachers are in here. You got the teachers all back in, or are you making them come back in now to do stuff, get ready with their classrooms, or how does that?
Now the first day will be for new teachers will be August 17th, But right now we just have people kind of coming in on their own and getting their classrooms set up. Teachers typically will pop in throughout the summer to get a head start on getting their classrooms set up and ready. So, but now we're kind of transitioning from the new building into one of the older buildings, and this is the high school now. So we have our art classrooms here, and we won't walk into any of those classrooms right now, but I'll take you up into two different high school classes to kind of get an idea of what that's going to look like.
Alrighty. So these are the art rooms.
Those are the art rooms. Yep.
How with the I see the tables there. How are you guys gonna space those ones out?
Yeah, that's art's trickier because kids are typically working together in groups. Just going to have assigned seats and try not to mix students around as much as possible. So we have a lot of construction going on right now. Watch your step. In our north gym, our older gym, they're sanding it down and resurfacing it all, so it's going to have a nice new look to it. So.
Is that the gym you guys normally have? I mean, is that like where you guys have your like dances? I'm guessing during the.
No, this is really for more JV and middle school games. So you can see they're putting down the different surfaces here. It's all been sanded, and then they're going to go through and add some finishes to it. So
very nice. By the way, Adam Purdy over there, he's one of the Union alumni. He's giving a shout out today, saying hello. So tuning in right now. Hello, Adam. Yeah, give everybody the shout outs for tuning in today when they say hello, especially. So
this first classroom here is not how we're going to set them up, but it was just an example of if we tried to space all the individual desks out as far apart. You can come in and take a look. How would that look? And this is about 4 to 5 feet per desk, so it's still not the 6 feet. And you can see it goes all the way from the back wall, side wall, all the way up to a couple feet from the front of the classroom. And that's not a real feasible way to instruct and learn.
right, I know the teachers they would have issues with
it'd be really
that
tough
close.
to teach from the board. Moving throughout the classroom would be challenging. As students get up, they're going to expose a number of students if they have to sharpen a pencil or leave the classroom and things like that. So we tried that setup, and it just really wasn't effective for us. So I'll show you a better setup of how we're going to encourage each classroom to look this fall.
Nice. I see they're working on it.
So they're having a meeting in there. So this is a new teacher classroom. This is our Spanish classroom. She hasn't really done any decorating yet. But this is a sample layout of how our pod structure will work. So we have about 30 desks set up in here. So this is one of our larger classes. So it was one of the more challenging ones to set up. But as you can see here, we have a group of 4 students.
Right.
This is a group of 2. This is overflow. We'd probably move it over in that area just to give us a little more space. But really from here to here, it's 6 feet. So we've kept our 4 students 6 feet away from our other 4 students and things like that. These students can still work together, collaborate, and granted, they're not 6 feet from one another.
Right.
But if we're just trying to minimize that contamination from one group of students to the other. So if a student here, for example, did have a positive exposure, then we can contact trace and go, okay, these 4 students maybe need to stay home for 14 days. We're not going to make that decision ourselves. That decision's made from Buchanan County Public Health.
Right.
And but we ran our plan through them, and they said that this setup will help them with contact tracing and prevent us from having to shut down the entire school, but be able to help mitigate any possible exposure.
So are you encouraging, just as a superintendent, and we obviously affiliate with the other superintendents of other local schools too, are you encouraging them to do this type of stuff? Would you say this is the best way that it looks, or would you say they should go off by this? Just your recommendation.
This is what we found is best for us, and each school district is going to be different, and as we learn more information, some of this might change. We might have to make some adjustments, but given the information we have at this point in time, this we feel is our best setup. So. And
you were talking about a Zoom, obviously putting them in like the bigger classrooms, putting them. If you can't put them all in one classroom, you were talking about putting them in. like remote, like
Well,
in the area that
If a
with the
student
video.
has an underlying health condition that it would be high risk for them to be in the school setting, or if they're just not comfortable yet being in school because of COVID, we're allowing families to elect to learn remotely and Zoom into the classroom. So in this situation, let's say we had a class of 20-some students, and
Adam's got a question too for you, by the way.
what's that?
Adam's got a quick question for you.
Yeah,
So
go
he
ahead.
said, "How's it going?" Adam Purdy here is giving you the question. He said, "How's it going to work during passing period, like in the hallways and stuff?"
Yeah, so we're going to try to minimize passing times and stagger them as best as possible. But passing times are less than 3 minutes. And the guidance we've received from public health is to really concentrate on those times where students are together in close quarters for 15 minutes or longer. And close quarters means 6 feet or greater. So they said that the risk of transmission is much less when you're just passing in the halls and things like that. So, but if we can stagger those passing times, especially in the elementary or middle school,
Right.
and have only certain classes, pardon me messing with my mask, I know that's not best procedures, but
That's all right.
I'm getting used to it.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right.
But in those buildings, trying to stagger those as best as possible. But guidance has been those short times where you're in close contact are not as critical as extended periods of time.
Are you guys still going to recommend that they use when they go into those close quarters, even those passing through? Just to kind of curb Adam's question there too, and kind of get a little closure on that. Are you guys going to make sure they wear masks at least when they're walking through through those close quarters?
Yeah, our recommendation right now will be all middle school and high school students will wear masks throughout the day. So
Okay.
that'll help minimize that spread as well.
'Cause I know with the kids walking with each other in close quarters, that's what they're kind of concerned about. So
Yep.
hey, if someone passes, just because it's not 15 minutes, who's to say someone can't pass?
Yep, mask will be required though for students in middle school and high school. Elementary, if they're able to wear it in a safe and sanitary way, then they'll be encouraged to wear it as well. But we're not making it a hard requirement at the elementary level.
All right, and then one big question here that I got personally. So the teachers, obviously teaching in the front. The fact of the matter that everybody's been kind of concerned with too is, are they going to be able to walk around? I know a lot of them walk around and do so, because sometimes there's a kid that goes through something.
Yeah. We're going
Sometimes
to encourage
there's
teachers to continue to move about the classroom and interact with their students. Learning has to take place. We can't say that the teacher's going to have to stay 6 feet away from everybody
Right.
at all times, because that's not going to be effective instruction. But they're going to, a lot of hand washing, hand sanitizing, wearing the mask. Will protect staff and students. But like I was going to say, if we have a student zooming in from at home, we might have a teacher with their laptop on a podium up here and starting the day in the instruction, providing, hey, here's today's assignment, here are some things we're going to work on, and go ahead and start working. Or they might turn the camera around and share the work that's on the board. Or they'll link it into their projector and then just share the screen with those at home. And then those students will work independently at home. It's not necessarily ideal, but it's going to allow that link for that student to still be connected with their classroom peers remotely and get that similar instruction.
will you guys encourage when they're working remotely? Will you guys? I know that a lot of students want to see each other basically. So let's say the kids working remotely. Obviously, is it going to be video remote working, or is it going to be just so that way? I mean, they want to interact. Are you going to encourage these kids to interact with the people working remotely?
Yeah, the Zoom will have audio and video on it, and we're issuing Chromebooks for all of our students in 5th grade through 12th grade this year.
Nice.
So not just the students at home will be on their computer, but the students in that classroom will be able to log into that same Zoom meeting if they want to talk to their classmate at home or ask questions or figure it out together. They'll be able to do that on site or remote.
So the communication between the remote and so it's still classroom involvement to a T, basically, is what you're saying.
Yep, it's just going to look a little bit different. So.
And are you encouraging them to? Are you encouraging also the teachers? Will they have somebody maybe zooming with underlying health condition?
Yeah. If
Are you encouraging them to socialize with? Are you going to have the teachers encourage the students to socialize with these remote? With the students that are working remote.
Yeah, so if we have a staff member that has a medical condition and with a doctor's note that says they're at risk and should not be here, then they'll be able to remote in and provide instruction. So let's say this teacher in here had a health condition, could not be on site. We would have that teacher zoom in with our projector, with the classroom, and provide instruction there. We would obviously try to put some adult assistants in the classroom, maybe a paraeducator or somebody to help manage the on-site classroom. But a lot of the instruction would take place from that teacher remotely. Or if they had to temporarily quarantine and were not showing symptoms or were sick, they could still work from home and provide some instruction. That'll work easier with the middle school and high school kids. It'll be a little bit more of a struggle in the elementary classrooms.
Yeah, because the biggest thing is just socializing as best as possible, but at the same time social distancing.
Yep.
Because the biggest thing the parents want, and I think they're most anxiety with it, social distancing, getting their kids sick, or having their kids be affected by the COVID. Now the other part is that what a lot of parents are worried about too, their kids love to be social. Their kids love to talk to each other.
Yep.
Are you going to encourage kids to continue to talk to each other inside of the classroom with this close not with the 6 feet apart? Are you going to encourage them to actually communicate, socialize, but at a distance? Or are you going to tell them like, okay, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you just need to mind your own P's and Q's, basically?
We're all still human beings. We have to interact with one another. That's one of the added benefits of a school setting, so that we understand that is going to continue to take place. Just have to be a little more conscious of it. Wear the mask. Wash your hands frequently. Stand back a little bit further, like you and I have been talking today. We can try to maintain our 6 feet for the most part. With the mask on.
Yep.
And just have those good practices. If we can do that as frequent as possible, that's going to help reduce that risk for our students and staff members. So, but we still have to interact, and we're social people. So.
And the social thing is the big part too, because the kids, like I said, especially ones work from home. That's why I'm saying that. My biggest thing with the remote is that are you going to encourage the staff when they got a student tuning in or listening through and working remote from home? Are you going to encourage the staff to maybe spend a little bit of time, and if they got a remote student, to have the students interact with them, socialize with them, like set a time slot,
and not isolated, and working on that. So let's go ahead and walk out in the hall, talk a little bit lockers, and then we'll walk around the outside and talk about the football area. I know that was an area you wanted to look at.
Yeah, the football area. They're kind of curious about that, especially with the possibility of, okay, are we gonna have the homecoming game? Is the community gonna be involved? And I said that's just a question I said you guys gotta realize homecoming is way far out there, but at the same time it's things can change. You'll be there before you know it, and things can change.
So you can kind of see our high school halls here, fairly wide, and then our lockers are here. Now when a student comes up to their locker, they'll open it, get their stuff, and then quickly move back to their class or things like that. We're going to try to minimize students hanging out in their lockers for extended periods of time. Our passing is 3 minutes or less typically, so they should not be at their locker for that full 3 minutes. It should be less than a minute here. But again, we'll know, let's say this student here had a possible exposure and had to quarantine. Well, we'll know that they were around these students in this section.
Right.
And then we can help contact trace and say, hey, these students may be here in working with public health should stay home for 14 days. It's all about being able to kind of trace those positive cases and be able to advise.
Are you guys going to make them, when they have to stay home 14 days, are you going to encourage them to work remotely still?
Yeah, if they're able to and symptom-free and feeling healthy enough to do that, we would encourage them to connect back into that classroom. That's another benefit of our hybrid learning, is it allows students when they're sick, whether it's COVID related or not, if they still want to get that instruction, they can just pipe into that classroom. It's not going to be the same as being in person, but it's better than not having any connection at all.
This is a socializing connection and other stuff too, that at least the learning, they're getting the learning and getting the education.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's the biggest education, because these kids are the tomorrow of Iowa, let's put it that way. So the biggest thing is the education.
So we're going to walk downstairs and then go outside and walk up to the football field here. But if you have any other questions as we go, feel free to ask. Careful walking and video at the same time.
Yeah. The biggest question I have, just to back Adam's question just a little bit, your staff, are they going to be really, really strict when it comes to, I get the 3-minute thing, the 15-minute thing, I get that. are they going to be really strict when it comes to the kids making sure they're not in close quarters during passing hall times? I mean, I'm talking, it's going to be difficult, but at the same time, are you going to try to have them get on about the social distancing?
Yeah, well, we're going to try to educate and encourage as best as possible. It's all about keeping people as safe as possible. But at the same time, you got to be compassionate, and we're all learning through this, and we're not used to maybe wearing a mask. I mean, I've been wearing it more frequently throughout the day with nobody here just to get used to it myself.
Right.
And as students come in, they're going to struggle, and there's going to be a time where they're going to be like, hey, I just need a break for a little bit. I got to
Right.
breathe. And we need to be compassionate to that. You know, hey, take a mask break. Try to get students outside if we can take, a class outside on a nice day like this, and maybe take a break from the mask at that point and spread out a little further. But then get your mask back on and, do your best to protect yourself and protect others through that process. But our plan, again, I'm going to say it numerous times, it's not going to be perfect.
Right.
It's going to be the best plan that we can put forward. So.
And honestly, the best plan that you guys can put forward is the best plan. That the state's gonna love it either way, but at the same time, as long as you guys are following their guidelines, following the rules of the state of Iowa, you're gonna be on the clean slate.
I hope so. We'll walk up the hill here to the football stadium and talk a little bit about football season, because football is a little different than some of the other sports.
Especially with the close. That's what they're curious about with the contact too, with the contact football, tackling, that kind of stuff. How's it gonna? I mean, their biggest thing with the football season is like, what if a football player all of a sudden contracts? Is that whole football team basically knocked out?
Yeah, and we're hoping that's not the case. So we got to practice a little bit with softball and baseball this summer, and across the state, I think anywhere from 7 to 10% of the teams had to close down for a period of time because of contact with a positive COVID case. Which is still a pretty low rate when you think about it.
Right.
But it wasn't necessarily done uniformly across the district. So
they're just kind of that's why they were curious about the football as much. I mean, they were more curious about it than I was, because with the kids, with them playing tackling football, they're curious about how that's all if they're gonna keep the constant sanitizing going on, if they're gonna keep the constant flow of that going on, or if you guys are just gonna play and just do the regulations that it's supposed to.
So any chances that we can do to help with that contact tracing will help us not have to shut down the entire team. But keeping students apart, when able to, football is obviously a contact sport, so when you're blocking or tackling, you're going to be in close quarters. But maybe having different smaller groups do that, and not mixing groups as much during drills. Now during a game, obviously that's not possible.
A game is going to be obviously full on contact. By the way, you got a Jesup alumni tuning in right now.
Oh yeah.
Haley Evans tuning in.
Oh, welcome to the broadcast. So let's stand up.
Welcome, Haley. Your superintendent says welcome to the broadcast. By the way, your old superintendent.
So with football, they came out with guidance a week or so ago that they're going to reduce the number of regular season games to between 5 and 7. So it's still going to start at the same time, but
I'm just going to take a look at it too.
Yep, the last two, they've knocked off the last 2 weeks, except for now everybody will play week 8 into a playoff system, and
nice.
Then whoever wins will advance, so that'll reduce it in half, and then you'll enter the traditional playoff system. So. But they're giving school districts latitude, so you can play anywhere between 5 and 7 games to qualify for the playoffs. And with that, if you do have to shut your team down for a week or 2 weeks or things like that, you schedule your 7 games, and that would bump you down to 5. Now, if you have to lose out more games than that, your season will probably be over. But they're trying to create a way to keep football as normal as possible. Now, with crowd control and things like that,
that's the biggest thing they're curious about too. Is are they going to be able to see the football team play in person, or are they going to have to? Or you guys to start out Are they recommending with the Iowa High School Athletic Association that you guys do it through video?
Yep.
How's that going to go to start out?
So, football is a large stadium, and unlike a gym where it's going to be tougher to maybe have to socially distance. So, we're going to encourage people to socially distance as best as possible. Also, we offer all of our sporting events through the Jayhawk Sports Network in
Nice.
collaboration with Heartland Technology. So our games will always be streamed, and you can view those on the Jayhawk Sports Network on Facebook as well. So we'll just
Nice.
continue to encourage people to access remotely if they're not comfortable being at the game. So, but homecoming is on this year. As of right now, I don't remember the date, but the opponent is the Denver Cyclones, and
Nice.
festivities may look a little bit different, but we haven't got into the detailed planning of that yet. But we will still have some type of homecoming this year. So.
You guys, as far as dancing, probably the social distancing, and that's a big thing. They're kind of curious. Is there gonna be a homecoming dance? You should ask him that.
Yeah, we don't know that yet.
Yeah.
That'll kind of depend.
I'm like, I think it's tough to go back into the old middle school area where you guys are like 6 feet apart dancing like this, floor
Right,
dances. So it's
right.
gonna be like really difficult, and but they're gonna try to make it work and let you guys know, and I'm sure they'll keep you up to date, and they'll keep us up to date so we can let you guys know as well when that gets closer.
Cool. Well, we can walk back into the main building here if you want. If we have any kind of final questions here you want to go through, we can cover that as we walk. Or...
Just one big, huge question here. So the band. You guys, how are you gonna do that? Obviously, you can social distance with the band. Like when the band comes out, and plays the national anthem, or for football, I'm talking here. Or how are you guys gonna do that?
Yeah, so
Marching band wise, or
for
things like that.
performances, outdoor performances, it shouldn't be a problem at all. We'll just have to make sure our formations are spaced out. And we met yesterday. Our band teacher was in one of our planning groups, and Iowa High School Music Association has put out specific guidance for them. Our district plan won't have that level of detail, but our music teachers will put out a specific guidance for their students specifically. But spreading out in the rehearsal rooms, 6 feet apart, and our band can get 30 performers into the regular band room, so that'll cover most of our band classes. And then our choir 6 feet as well, and that'll be a little tighter in there because that room's a little bit smaller, so we can be able to get 20 in there. So we might have to rotate smaller groups in there. We have a new vocal teacher this year, and he was in here yesterday for the first time, kind of getting set up. So we have to talk with him about maybe using an alternate space.
I know you guys had Mr. I can't think of his name now. He used to be the vocal teacher for many years.
Well, there's Mr. Emick. He was
Emick,
here.
yep. Mr. Emick, yep.
Yeah, and then we had Mr. Miss Ostrander was here, Mrs. Klein. She got married while she was here. And then the last 4 years or so, we had Mr. Fitzgerald. And then he left with his wife to go down to Pella and move closer to their family. And now we have Mr. Ginn joining us this year. He's a brand new teacher, so we're excited about that. So.
Yeah, I know Mr. Emick still. My sister when she was here at Jesup, she loved Mr. Emick and loved the teachers up there at the music department.
Yeah, he was with us for a long time as a teacher. So, and taught band initially, and then moved over to the vocal side for a while. So.
Very good system, and these teachers, let me tell you, these teachers are gonna be tough on them. They want to see the kids. They get to see the kids, but it's gonna be a little bit different.
Yeah, it will.
And honestly, I'm sure with the staff, the administration, that the teachers need, hey, I need a break or something. Hey, I need to regroup. I'm feeling an emotion. People go through emotions on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. So, come back to the school system, there's going to be some anxiety flowing. There's going to be some kids and some staff that are not comfortable. Obviously, you guys are accommodating very well with that. I'll give you that. So, congratulations on that.
Yeah.
As far as obviously, if a teacher needs to step out for 5 minutes, say they're going through something, or a kid's going through something, not liking the fact they're having to be away from their best friend or away from their, let's say, a boyfriend's away from his girlfriend at a different table. Mm-hmm. Honestly, there's going to be some emotions flying.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the number one priority is safety, physical safety, and then close number 2 is the mental health and the social health of our students. And as people come back, there's going to have moments where they're going to struggle with things. There's going to be nervousness, anxiety, fear, anger, forgetting what it was like to be in a setting like that and getting used to that. We're hiring a new social worker this year who will be here 4 out of 5 days. We're partnering with Wapsie Valley Schools on that, and they'll be able to provide some support. And then also making sure our staff have those opportunities to to get away if they need to for a little bit. Our administrative staff, our building principals do a wonderful job staying connected with our staff and then providing that help as they move forward if they need those breaks and things like that. So
Very nice.
yeah, but those physical safety and then social emotional health, mental health safety are our top priorities.
The mental health, there's going to be some flying. I know there's going to be some pretty good flying, especially in the, not to single out the elementary, because obviously probably some mental health in that too. But especially middle school, high school, I'm sure it's going to fly.
Absolutely.
It's going to be really high up there. And I know you're going to train, there's obviously probably some extra training going on with the COVID-19. There's probably some extra training going on with those mental health, especially special education, everything like that about going back into school and how to approach it.
Yep. We have training each year. Last year was the first time it was required for mental health training for all of our staff before COVID, talking about how to identify behaviors or characteristics that might exhibit showing a student struggling with mental health or some struggles. That'll be even more important as we start this school year as well. So
definitely that's good. They got that under control. They got you guys trained in that last year. I know that you guys probably have to go through that training at least once a year. I'm guessing.
Yep, every fall. So our first couple days back with staff, we do a lot of online trainings and group trainings and things like that. Usually we're all 170 of us in the cafeteria together for those days. That's not going to happen this year. We're not going to bring all of our staff together in the same room. We're going to break up into smaller groups, have building principals and supervisors lead those trainings on their own. And then I'll pop in at each meeting and kind of give kind of an overview of the district like I typically do in those smaller groups. So everything's going to be a little bit different this year, but like I said, we're doing our best we can. It won't be perfect, but as long as we're giving our best, I think we'll be fine. So.
Very nice. Awesome. Well, Nathan, I just want to say, first off, on behalf of 103.9, awesome job with the school system. We cannot express how truly grateful we are just to see you guys taking into perspective on how these parents feel, how the staff feel, how the students feel, putting their feelings, putting their emotions with this COVID, putting their emotions through all, with just anything in general. I mean, before COVID, you guys put it with, their mental health, with everything first, and different things like that, for the actual academic. Just hats off to you on that, by far.
Appreciate that, Josh.
Talking with you on this today, especially, it just proves that you guys are going to work with them, and hopefully this can curb just a little bit of anxiety going on. I know there's a lot of anxiety out there. It's not going to curb it all, but at least it's going to give them a sense of what they're going to see and how their kids are going to be, especially with the classes, like you showed us, how they're going to be laid out and how they're going to, they're going to be safe.
Yep. I appreciate you coming visiting today.
Yep, appreciate it, Nathan. And then we're going to walk right in, then we'll conclude the interview inside. One thing they're going to ask about recess. I know they're going to ask about that because you're viewing, obviously the camera is turned, as a matter of fact, it's turned directly towards it right now. Big thing, elementary recess.
Yeah, so we're still going to have recess, but we're going to try to separate them by class sections as best as possible. And maybe have one class on the playground equipment, one out in the open grass area, trying to spread out as much as possible. And again, not mixing different sections together, but having those sections, those small groups, stay together for the most part. But we'll still have recess, and we'll probably have students outside more than ever. Classroom time outside when possible, just to get out in the open air and take a break from the mask if you need to, and be able to spread out a little bit further than the classroom. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I know the kids are going to love being outside, but at the same time, that social distancing ratio is going to be a big factor too. So I know that you guys will work with that, especially outside, and maybe keeping them in that close area, but yet keeping them far enough apart that they're not gonna affect each other. They take the mask off, basically.
Yep. So, yeah, we can walk in this back door here and kind of wrap things up. So
it's first off, just a beautiful campus. I know you guys did this back in 2005, I believe. You added the new building.
Yeah, 2004, 2005. That was before I got here, but they added the middle school and elementary. Then in 2013, we added the early learning center.
And the early learning center, I know, it's a big thing for you guys. So I know that's a big thing, especially with a lot of probably a lot of kids coming into that. A lot of people talk about your school with early childhood to high school. They talk about.
Yeah, it's really allowed us to expand our 3-year-old and 4-year-old preschool program. So that's been really a positive for us.
And I know it's going to be difficult with those, not to single out any area of the school system, but especially the younger kids. It's going to be difficult with them, especially since you guys are not mandating them to the mask, because sometimes they have to have reminders. Their kids, they have to have reminders. They get messy sometimes, all that kind of stuff. I know it's going to be difficult to keep them. It's going to be tough for your teachers, I guess, too, to keep them washing their hands, keeping them constant on that basis, not touching their faces, stuff like that. What is your best advice, though, with that? What is the advice that you're going to give your elementary teachers? Just to take it as it is, basically, or to
our
work with it?
elementary teachers do a great job of teaching procedures and how we're supposed to interact with each other and ourselves throughout the day. So they're going to focus on explaining why we need to stay apart a little bit further, how we greet each other and things like that. So they're naturals on that. It's just going to be a little bit different focus maybe than what they had to focus on at the beginning of the year. So standing up in line for bathroom breaks might be a little different, but that's something that we practice and cover really well, especially with the younger.
And the bathroom thing too, the custodial thing, that's the big thing everybody's worried about too. So they want to know if you guys are going to make sure the bathrooms because obviously kids go use the restroom, staff go use the restroom, everything like that. How are you going to make sure that those are clean, especially the hard surfaces?
Yeah, so we're hiring an additional daytime custodian this year just to help with that cleaning throughout, not just bathrooms, classrooms, throughout the school day. So we're hoping that'll help the additional staffing on that. So we have a lot of hand sanitizer, a lot of disinfectant, stockpiling that to be ready for the start of the school year. So.
I guess we're staying right outside the nursing office too right now, aren't we?
Yep,
Nurse's
this is the nurse's office.
So that's where your kids are feeling, if they're feeling like they got a little fever going on or a temperature or something like that, they're not feeling good. This is where the staff's gonna send them.
Yep, and
right here.
We'll be hiring a new nurse here in the next week or so, and having that staff member on and ready to go. So it'll be a challenge, but our nurse has been, Christy Van Brocklin's been a great help for us in working with public health and being that liaison between the school district and making sure we're getting the best information. So
Shout out to Christy on that one too. So
right.
good job, Christy. I know it's difficult, but good job. So the nurses, they'll be obviously wearing, I'm guessing with, their precautions that they have as far as medical field. Are they going to be wearing, just kind of so in case so if there's any, obviously parents that were tuning in, maybe they got a student with, or one of their kids with them, and they're like, just kind of out of curiosity with this one here too, are the nurses going to be wearing their coverings and all that kind of stuff? For protective?
Yeah, they'll have face shields and masks as needed. We got an extra divider to keep the students, see Josh, keep students separate when they visit the nurse's office and things like that. We're also going to encourage our students who have to take medications. They'll take that in the building offices. We'll have our secretaries certified to be able to provide medicines as needed, just to minimize the number of kids visiting the nurse's office, and then truly. If a student is exhibiting symptoms or things like that, that's when they would come to the nurse's office. Or even COVID symptoms or non-COVID symptoms. But
are you going to encourage the nurse to wear? I'm just talking about what their attire is going to be. Are you encouraging them to wear not just the PPE mask, not just the mask, but are you encouraging them to wear, like, say a kid does come in with a fever? Are you going to have them equipped with their actual gowns like you would see in a hospital, basically?
So they'll probably wear scrubs throughout the day so that they can wash that pretty easily, but they will not wear like a hazmat type of suit or things like that. They'll wear gloves.
That's the big thing they were scared about too, because they didn't want their kids to be scared of the nurse. Let's
No,
put it that way.
The nurse will look a lot like what the nurse typically looks like. And this summer we've had some staff wear the face shields working with summer school kids, and kids react real quickly and they look past the shield pretty easily and don't even think much of it. So
Very awesome.
The first day it'll probably be a little different on that, but kids adapt pretty quickly. So quicker than us as adults usually. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to get used to the mask thing. It's still difficult, but at the same time, it is what it has to be.
Yep.
In the end, it's all about the safety. In the end, it's all about the health, safety, the well-being, because you guys care.
Absolutely.
So I just want to say, first off, thank you again for the interview. Thank you for taking the time to have us on site here. I know it's obviously difficult with the job right now, but by far, 100% backing you guys up here as media for all you guys do, all you've done, all you continue to do to keep everybody safe. So hats off to you on that too.
We appreciate you coming out, Josh.
And this concludes the live interview right now with Jesup Community School District Superintendent Nathan Marting. I want to thank Nathan Marting for taking the time here today on 103.9. This is going to be uploaded live. It's recorded live. Well, it's live on Facebook. We're going to upload it to Twitter, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. You guys will be able to check it out on all our social media. So we'll upload that for you guys here later on. And be sure to continue to tune in to www.mixlr.com/1039 FM. And you guys obviously know the link. So be sure to tune into that, because coming up this afternoon, we're going to play this in recap, do the audio of this and the whole entire interview. We're going to actually play this interview through audio through our station later on this afternoon. So be sure to tune into that. Hopefully Nathan will get a chance to tune in so you can hear the interview. And again, guys, be sure to be safe out there. Practice social distancing. Don't want to wear a mask. Not going to get into those details. But make sure that your kids are equipped and ready to come back into school. And if they're not ready to come back, reach out. So I'll say thank you again, Nathan. And thank you for your time today.
All right. Thanks, Josh.
All right, guys. We will talk to you later on. Thanks so much. We're live right now from Jesup. Thanks so much, guys.